Hello.
Hi, how are you guys today?
Hey,
Hi.
so
So,
far.
welcome to the podcast. It's a Million Emo Thoughts. I'm very excited to have you and your
Thank you
band,
so much. I
Pollyanna, as the
appreciate
first
it.
guest.
Oh, that's so
So,
cool. That's awesome. I'm
yeah.
waiting for my bandmates. I'm not sure if they're okay. They're turning on their computer now. Sorry. We tend to be late to things sometimes. I apologize on the lateness.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
That's so cool though. So this is the first podcast or the
Yeah,
first.
very
Okay,
first
cool.
one.
That's
So, I'm
awesome.
honored to have you on.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. What
Yeah,
was your
you're
name?
Ashley Whitney.
Ashley. Okay, cool. Cool. Awesome. I'm Jill, by the way. I don't know if you knew.
Oh, yeah, I know. Hi, Jill.
Okay, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
I know.
Brandon said he is turning his computer on at the moment. The reason why I was late is I had to update a new version of Zoom for some odd reason. My computer was like, you can't, you can't do this unless you update Zoom, and it took a bit, but we're here now.
Oh, yeah, I have to update mine too, and it's just not working. So,
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah. But yeah, they'll trickle in. I know Brandon will be here soon. But yeah,
Okay, so yeah, I guess we should just get started.
do you want
Um,
to get started?
yeah,
Yeah, cool. Sounds good.
I absolutely loved the single relationship anxiety
Oh,
one. It
thank
starts off
you.
with a bang, and I'm like, I really want to listen to the whole album after hearing the song.
Okay, yeah. No, it's a
Um,
fun one. It's a fun one.
so what inspired the track? What did you guys write it about?
Well, that song's cool because that was the very last song written on the album. Like that song was not really in our demos at all. Like we weren't planning, like that was a very, very random, like I wrote it, like the idea came to mind like 2 weeks before we left for the studio to record the album. And it was because like I was I mean there was definitely like a lot going on in my head at the time, but it was like um I wasn't really planning on writing anything. I was told to like try to write more songs for the record, and I was like, I'm not gonna write anything. And then I randomly just like started like singing kind of the chorus in my car because I had this idea. And it's basically about, obviously it's about the word relationship anxiety. But there's definitely like a lot to it. Like personally, I've always struggled with like going into relationships and knowing if it was, like differentiating the difference between like the anxiety and intuition of what's right and what's wrong for us and things like that, and like going back and forth between our emotions of what we should do, what we want, what we need, things like that. So I kind of wrote it like of before, like I wrote it when I was not in that headspace anymore. So it's kind of like a reflection of because I had went into a relationship, I want to say like 3-4 months before I wrote that. And I remember feeling like that before I went to the into the relationship, and I kind of was just able to tap into that energy, especially because um during that time I was struggling with what I really wanted in a relationship, and if I wanted monogamy or polyamory, and why I always felt like closed in a box when I wasn't in a relationship, and why I wasn't able to understand my commitment issues. Um, Sorry, that's a lot, but yeah, that's basically what I wrote it about.
Oh, that's very relatable to me
Yeah,
too. Not so much the polyamory thing, but of the whole, do I want to commit to this person? What does that really mean for me? I think it means something different for everybody. Has writing that song given you any clarity on what you want in a relationship at all?
definitely. Yeah. It definitely gave me clarity. It definitely made it like it made me feel less alone in the situation, because there's so many people that are like, oh, I relate to this. Oh, I relate to this. Oh, I relate to this. And I'm like, oh, so I'm not just this like person that just can never understand why I feel like no matter what, I'm like nothing's right for me, or like nothing, I'm never gonna feel fully fulfilled or whatever, like all those anxieties of like having that when you meet someone that you potentially want to be with or anything like that. Like it made me feel a lot less alone. I don't know if it would if it gave me full on like clarity, but it definitely made me like understand like, oh, this is normal. Like this is just what we like a lot of people go through that have anxiety, that feel like I'm so sorry. The Wi-Fi crashed and it like turned off and then it came back on. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh no, that's totally okay. Things happen.
Um,
Uh,
what was I explaining? Where did you last hear me?
we were talking about how the song Relationship Anxiety didn't give you much clarity on your own feelings about relationships, but people related to it, so that made you say, "Oh, okay, this is maybe something I can do in my own life."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, no, you summed it up perfectly. It gave me clarity in the way of like feeling like I wasn't crazy for feeling that way, or I wasn't like the only person feeling that way, and that it's feelings that we just have to work through and um kind of just talk about if we want to go into that relationship, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I was also listening to the song Slut, like, before you came on to Zoom, and
Yeah.
I love how it's just, to me, about, like, sexual liberation and not
Mhm,
really being put down by that word because
mhm.
so many people use it to be derogatory towards other people.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, you hit it right on the nail. A lot of people have so many different ideas of like what that song is about, but like that is exactly what the song is about, honestly. Like a lot of people will think this and that, but like it's kind of I like to think of it as like reclaiming the word because yeah, like it is used like derogatory and like how like just especially like when I was in high school of like how like anybody would like call someone a slut and it was like such a horrible word and like it made people feel so bad and like it was just such an embarrassing thing like there was so many people exploited of like you know whatever. Oh, Brandon's here. Hey, Brandon. He's connecting. But yeah, it's just like and even now like there's like it's such a negative word in so many different ways but um I think especially the queer community is definitely trying to reclaim that word of like it's more about like sexual liberation and freedom and like being open about it, you know. Hey, Brandon.
Hi, Brandon.
Hi.
Welcome.
Yeah,
Morning.
sorry. My Zoom had to like reinstall as well, so
Me too.
yeah.
Oh, no, that's not a problem. I was telling Jill, you guys are the first guests of the podcast, so
Oh, nice.
congrats. Um, I wanted to move on from that song and just talk about the album as a whole. Like, what would you want listeners to get out of it? And also, Slime, I thought was a very interesting name. Like, what was the thinking behind that?
Brandon, you could go.
Um, I don't know. It's definitely at first listen like a very angry album, but I think after a while, if you listen to it more than once, that you realize we're just a bunch of insecure babies.
Mhm.
So there's two sides.
There's definitely a lot of sides. I agree. Wait, what was the exact question that you asked again about slime?
Like,
Oh,
where
the
the
What
name
name.
what do
came
you want
from.
people to take away from it?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, I do think it takes you like on a journey. I do think that not that it's a concept album, but it does go through the wave of emotions, and I think that in some way the track listing does kind of reflect on that, and like the story of like feeling, um, I think in the beginning of just feeling angry and like why can't I do this? I don't want to be in this box anymore. And then the middle is definitely like fuck you, like I it's kind of like claiming your confidence back in whatever way that, I don't know, it's kind of like going through the emotions of a really horrible breakup or just like traumatic experience with another person. And then the end kind of shows like a softer side of the anger, because obviously anger is a secondary emotion to the real emotion, which is sadness. And I think what I would want like listeners to take away from is just that like it does, like, time will like take its course with whatever healing process that you're going through. You know, because there's a lot of like that record to us, it was definitely like a healing process, I think, like the whole record. And I think that there's a lot of different times and of that healing process that you hear in that record where it does feel like a really long time and that you're never going to get out of it. Does that make sense?
Oh no, that definitely makes sense. Definitely makes sense to me. I think the origin story of your band is so interesting because you met so young and you were
Yeah.
starting this very young. So just tell me about that journey. Like, what made you want to start a band, and how has it been in the New Jersey rock scene so far?
So I'll go first and then I'll let Brandon talk, because Brandon joined in 2019, but obviously me and Dan were doing this for like I don't know, 6 years before or something like that, 7 maybe. But Brandon also like he's been doing the same thing his whole life. Like he's been in the music scene, especially like he's a little older than us, so like he's been like in the music scene for a minute. But
And
yeah,
same with
Dan,
Jack too.
yeah, same thing with Jack. Like we've all like, besides me and Dan always kind of being in the same band together, like we've all been like in our own way, like we've been grinding in the music scene since we were like 13, 12, 13, 14. Like we all, like, you know, Brandon's been in a million different projects, same with Jack, of just like trying to do the thing. And I think especially when Jack joined, it was like the missing puzzle piece of like, okay, this is the thing, you know, this is what we should really be focusing on, because it feels good and it feels good to other people, which is like honestly the only two real components you really need to like pursue a band. Like if it feels good for you and it starts to feel good for other people as well, you know. But yeah, Dan and I, we started when we were like 13, 14. We were just jamming, and then uh we were like I didn't sing back then, and we kind of went through a lot of different member changes. We were like, you know, in high school, and we were just like, I was writing the songs, but they were not good songs. They were bad. And like we just went through so many different like ups and downs of like musicianship and like learning different things, and like we always like took it seriously, but we never like knew what that even like meant and entailed, you know what I mean? And then once we got out of high school, like we immediately followed Warped Tour and we played a few dates on it. And then it was just like the two of us for a while, and we just found Brandon randomly, thanks to Facebook. And
Good old Zuckerberg.
it's even though like me and Dan were serious, like we really didn't have like weekly practice of like, okay, what should we be doing next, until Brandon joined. Like it wasn't really functioning like as the way that I always wanted it to until Brandon joined. And then when Jack joined, I want to say like Jack like officially joined probably like a year after Brandon, technically. That's when it really started to like, the business side started to move like a machine of like, we all want to do this and we all just need to, you know, take our parts, because like the four of us are very different from each other. Like we obviously have a lot in common, but like we are all very different individual people, you know. I think that's the really exciting thing about it, because it's hard, it's like nearly impossible to just like get bored with like the group that we are, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I know you guys are from New Jersey, which is cool. I'm a New Yorker, so I don't know much about Jersey.
You're in New York.
Queens, New York. So like
Gotcha.
in the 5 boroughs, what is the scene out there like for you guys, or you people rather? Because you're the front person of the band. I realize that.
It's fun. I like the Jersey scene. Like I've definitely had a lot of fun playing in New York and all the boroughs except Staten Island. But Jersey definitely has its sections because like I'm from North Jersey, so like I'm like 25 minutes west of the George Washington Bridge. So I'm all the way up here, and then Dan and Jill are kind of in the middle, and Jack is kind of like on the shore, but like closer to the south. So there's a bunch, like there's the Atlantic City scene. There's like the North Jersey and like the North Jersey scene isn't like one city. It's like, you know, there's a venue here, and then 25 minutes west there's another one, and there's the Meat Locker. And then there's like the New Brunswick kind of like Rutgers house show scene. There's not like there's maybe like one venue in New Brunswick that's like an actual place.
Really?
And it's like a bar. Yeah, it's like La Barca or something like that.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, and like they don't do shows a lot.
You're not even mentioning the biggest scene right now, Asbury. Asbury Park is like the big
Asbury's
music
good.
scene right
Yeah.
now.
Right. They
It's
have a lot of really big acts that play there.
definitely. Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like over the past like just decade, like the poppin' scene of Jersey, it changes. Like
Yeah, definitely.
like it's always changing. Like this many bands like 6 years ago like didn't all go through Asbury. They were going to like honestly Starland I went to see like a lot of shows, which is that's a bigger venue. It's like what, 2,000 cap or something like that. New Jersey is weird because like even though it is just relatively small state, like there is different scenes all around. But I do and maybe because we're like biased, like we're from Jersey, like I love the Jersey scene. I think people there's been so many shows that we've played at random cities where like there'll be people there and they're just like not into it. They're just like they don't care. They're I guess pretentious could be the word, but they're just like, you know, like Jersey, like there's some cities out that'll do the same thing, but like Jersey does go hard in that case. Like I've always noticed that like Jersey, like people will like to like dance and get into it, and like people will support the scene. I think people will like buy merch and do like I do think like that Jersey really does support its local scene. I do notice that versus a lot of other cities, cities. States.
It's probably because we are closer to New York and like, you know, Philly and Boston. People who live in like, you know, Detroit only have like Detroit. They don't have a lot of other shit in that area.
Yeah.
Especially like we just played it like a show in Detroit, and like what Jill is describing is what happened at the show. Yeah. And it wasn't even Detroit. It was like probably Pontiac. Like a half an hour. Yeah, Pontiac, Michigan. So it was like a half hour outside of Detroit, and it was weird vibes.
Yeah,
it was like a fun day.
I interesting that you notice the difference between areas and fan bases and how people react.
100%. Yeah, I also think that there's this weird pretentious air with like the big A markets. So like New York City, Nashville, LA, they're gonna go less hard than like the Jersey, the
Charlotte, North
Charlotte, the Phoenix, the DC, like the Maryland, like all the markets, or like Ohio even, like versus like Chicago over like Ohio, like that's the Midwest, but like that's what people do in Ohio. Like they go to shows because that's like the scene. Like Chicago, you could there's so much, like same with like New York. I do obviously prefer New York out of like, and I also think that's because I'm biased, but like Nashville, like for Nashville's a great example because we've only played Nashville twice, and every single time they're my least favorite show. Like it's just so like there's shows everywhere. Like it's just a music city. And because of that, it's like no one cares about your band playing at the next door. My band's playing in the next venue. You know, it's just so like there's not as much support because everyone's trying to do the same thing. So it's just like, you know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
think it's a
I
little bit more
understand.
special with Jersey or like Albany, New York, or I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Albany.
Albany, yeah, that's how I usually say it. So with your debut album, like, what are you guys looking forward to in terms of like moving on from that? Like, are you guys preparing another album? Are you guys just gonna focus on touring for this one? What's
So,
the
a little bit of both, right,
plan? Okay.
Brandon? Um,
Anything specific? Any venues you're looking forward to? Any new song ideas you've come up with?
yeah. I think because we like just got done with our first full US tour, it's a little bit of a weird time for us because like we had so much momentum building like over the summer. Like we were so focused on the record coming out, then we were so focused on our release show, then we were so focused on our tour. And like we do have shows coming up. Specifically the ones that we have announced are in December. And it's just 4 shows. It's Philly, um, Philly, Jersey, and Long Island. But I think it'll be a lot of fun, especially because it's like December can be a weird time to go to shows, but it's also like a really fun time because like besides like I don't know shopping for presents, there's like not much to do. You know, it's like a weird time. It like it things go like dark at like 4:30, so it's like kind of a depressing time, at least for me. So it's just I think right now we're trying to find ways to still push the record because even though it did come out almost 6 months ago now, 5 months,
Hmm.
like it's still new and like there's still more. I think there's more room for us to share that even though like we put it out. And like I think a lot of mistakes that artists will make is that they'll put the record out and then like they just won't ever talk about it again or they won't ever continue promoting it. But like we worked so hard on this record that like it just like we should still keep pushing it. You know what I mean? So we're definitely focusing a lot on that, and just pushing the record as much as possible. But we are very eager to start really diving into writing again. Brandon was just saying this that like we want to like we are writing and like we have been writing and stuff like that, but it's kind of just like ideas right now, like nothing. It's very like scattered, you know. So I feel like the direction's definitely gonna be a little bit weirder and I think darker. But definitely a similar vibe. I think we really like the vibe that we created with Slime. But we're probably gonna get a little bit weirder and darker and more playful with it because that's just what we've been writing lately. So I think we're all really excited about that. And then we definitely have plans to play a bunch of shows in 2023. We don't know for sure everything obviously in the whole year.
Hmm.
Hopefully we'll be doing a lot more like full US touring later on in the year, but we definitely are going to play some shows around the um Midwest, South. I don't know. Is that
Yeah.
saying too much?
No, yeah, we have some shows that we're probably gonna announce soon. I don't know exactly when, but yeah, we do like we're excited. We're touring with this band called Family Dinner. They're
Okay,
from
cool name.
Yeah, they're from Long Island, and I don't even remember how we met them. Like we have the person who produced our album,
Hmm.
Slime, Brett Romness. He also he plays in a band called I Am the Avalanche, and he brought this band Family Dinner on tour,
Hmm.
and then did their album. So I think that's our connection with them. And
Awesome.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
sick. So we're
yeah, they're
excited.
really cool.
I'm looking forward to hearing the dark weirdness you have going on in your new
Yeah,
music.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
yeah, of course. Thanks for having us for your first podcast. That's really cool. So,
Yeah, I
Also,
know. Thank you.
if you're into dark weirdness, we have a song coming out on December 2nd as a part of the our record label. I Surrender Records is putting out a Christmas compilation or a holiday mixer,
yeah.
and we have a song on that. So
it's
December
a
2nd.
yeah, it's like it's like weird like trying to promote it because it is a new song and like we did spend a lot of time on it, but it's like for a Christmas compilation. So we're like, by the way, we have a new song, but like we're really proud of it. It's dark, it's weird, and I think that we're gonna like that's like I might correct me if I'm wrong, Brandon, but I feel like it's like a little bit of a taste of what the vibe that we've been creating for the new stuff.
Yeah, kind of.
You know?
Oh, awesome.
It's dark,
Okay,
it's
so
weird,
yeah, everybody download that song, download Slime, stream it everywhere that you can. Subscribe on YouTube because this will be on
Yes.
YouTube.
Mhm.
Listen on
Yeah.
Spotify. Thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much
thank
for
you.
having us. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Come on again if you want to. You're always welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really cool that you had us for your first podcast. We'll remember this forever.
Yeah,
So
we'll
will
try and
I.
get the
Thank
rest
you.
of our band next time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of
Yeah, sorry
course.
our other two bandmates couldn't make it.
Oh, no, that's totally okay. It was great having you two on.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ashley. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day, you guys.
All right,
Thanks.
you too.
Bye.
Bye.